Welcome back to the Elise podcast, where I help women thrive unapologetically from the inside out in perimenopause and menopause. All right, let's jump right in. I want to get into, are you in a fucking plateau? Is this working? And this actually stems off a community call that I did for the FFWE group yesterday, which I actually called is this shit working? Like, what am I doing wrong? And so when we look at changing your physique in this phase of life, when life is super lifey, and I like to just really reflect on this for a second because I think this is important. I don't want it to get lost on you, is that in the past, you likely lost weight successfully because the parameters of your environment were different. Maybe it was the first time you needed to lose weight. Maybe you're getting off baby weight. Whatever it is, it was probably a combination of, it was the first time you did anything, which will always be your most successful time losing weight, because the more you lose and gain, the harder it is to lose, the easier it is to gain. And then also your environment is different. So right now, if you're listening to this, chances are you are in perimenopause, menopause. So somewhere in that like 40, 50, 60-year-old time frame, or maybe even late 30s. And so life is very different now. So I use myself as an example. Even today, the recording of this, it is May 1st, 2025. And I'm still struggling with my goals because I have really big physique goals for myself. However, my life takes over. So while I want to push my physique in certain aspects, I need to be respectful of the fact that my body cannot handle my life plus my goals always at the same time. So I'm battling, work being really busy. I'm, battling the kids and their schedules, their life, their dependency and independency right now that we're dealing with, and then as well as hormonal changes and fluctuations, sleep disruptions, HRT titration. It makes everything a little bit more challenging now. And so I want to get super dialed in as to how to know if what you're doing is actually working. So maybe you're doing a meal plan with an app that you're following. Maybe you're doing, I don't know, a stupid detox that you saw on Instagram and you're trying to like figure that shit out. Maybe you're just like, I'm just going to eat clean. I'm just going to eat healthy. I'm just going to do Weight Watch, whatever it is that you're doing. How do you know if it's not working? How do you know if you're actually at a plateau? So the first question I like to challenge our clients with is, how do you know you are actually not seeing results anymore? How do you know that you're actually in a plateau? And it is these kind of criteria that I look at. So number one is that you'd have to be consistent for 6 out of 7 days of the week. So now we're going to break down even more. What does that mean? So if someone's like, I'm doing everything right, Elise, and I'm not seeing any results. Okay. So are you being consistent 6 out of 7 days? Meaning, are you sticking to your macros or whatever meal you're being prescribed? Are you sticking to that 6 out of 7 days? And on the 7th day, are you eating like a fucking asshole and eating 3,000 calories? Or are you derailing a little bit and going, let's say, 20% off? Because if on that one day you go 100% off, you're going to fuck that shit up and you're going to be right back to where you started. Okay. So that's number one. Are you consistent 6 out of 7 days? So in order for someone to come to me and for me to say to them, yes, you are in a plateau, or this is not working anymore right now, you need to have at least 6 out of 7 days of consistency. Number one, you need to be doing your training and or movement goals every day, every week. So if you have a certain steps to hit or a certain amount of training sessions, whatever it is per week that you're doing, so you need to be doing that. And you need to not be seeing any changes on the scale after weighing yourself every single day for 4 weeks. And you need to see no changes in measurements over those 4 weeks. And you need to see no difference in progress pictures between day 1 and the end of week 4. And you need to have no changes in the comfort of your clothes / jeans or trousers, something that is fitted, not leggings or anything stretchy. Okay. So if it's been 4 weeks with no movement on the scale, measurements, pictures, clothing, and you've been consistent 6 out of 7 days and with your nutrition and you're hitting your movement, then you, my girl, are in an official plateau. I think I see this 0.01% of the time. So when most women come to me and they're like, this isn't working, I don't know, I'm doing all my things, and I get really granular. And the very first thing, which I mentioned, is, are you being consistent 6 out of 7 days? Most women do not show this level of consistency. And hey, that is fucking okay, because 6 out of 7 days in my life is hard as fuck. And I'm pretty dialed in with my nutrition. Okay. So now this isn't me saying, like I said to my team yesterday, to the ladies in our community, this isn't me being a dick. This is me shining a mirror and just showing you exactly what's in front of you. So I'm being very objective here. You do not need to be consistent 6 out of 7 days. Most people are consistent 4 out of 7 days. Most people can give me 100% 4 out of 7 days. And then on those 3 other days, it's getting a little bit lazy, anywhere from 20 to 40 to 60% going, quote unquote, off the rails or off plan. All right. And if you follow that type of consistency, then after, let's say 4 weeks, you're going to see no difference, because 4 weeks isn't enough. So give it maybe 3-4 months of that. And if you see no changes, then you might be in a plateau. Okay. So, and if you're unsure about what I'm saying and you're like, but I don't get it, it's like, goes back to my podcast that I did on effort matching outcome. So you want to make sure that if you really want to see that outcome of being that like A effort, or you want to see that lean physique, or whatever you have in your head of what you think you want to see, then you're going to have to put in that A effort. And it's really fucking hard. I can do it max for 6-8 weeks. That's it. I'm done. I tap out. So when someone's like, I've been doing this for 12 weeks and I see nothing, I'm like, no, the fuck you haven't, because there's no way that you're still over 200 pounds when you've been consistent 6 out of 7 days for 4 to 6 weeks and not having any changes on the scale. Okay. So really dial in what that consistency looks like. The second thing is, a lot of women will say to me, I don't weigh myself every day, Elise, because it's very obsessive and all that. And I'm like, I get it. But if we can just remove all the emotions and just call it what it is, which is data, then think of it like this. At the end of 4 weeks, at the end of 1 month, let's average 30 days. If you weigh yourself once a week, that is only 4 data points that you're going to have. So when someone only weighs himself 4 times a week, 4 times a month, and they come to me and they're like, I've had no changes on the scale. I'm like, well, how do you know? You've only weighed yourself once a week. So we're going off 4 data points. If you weighed yourself every day, we've got 30 data points, and it's likely going to look like this, right? It's going to look like a zigzag or a squiggly line, or like up and down, up and down, up and down. But most people, just when they do 4 points, they're like, it looks the same, but you don't actually know what's happening in between them. For all you know, your weight went really high up and now it's coming back down. And what you're doing when it goes back down might be, or when it goes up high then go back down, might be what's holding you back. So now we don't know, we can't see the full picture. So when you're like, nothing's working, if you're not tracking and you don't have that data, then you don't know. The next thing people say to me when they're like, this isn't working, or I'm on a plateau, or I don't get it, is I look at their nutrition. What are you eating? And they're like, well, I don't like tracking. Okay, that's totally fair. But if you don't like tracking, then we have no data. So it's like me saying, I just want to save money. Okay. I make, let's say, I don't know, $100,000 a year. I've got, bills and mortgage and hockey and whatever it is. And I'm in debt 50K every year. I keep adding another 50K on my debt. So you're like, okay, we're going to get you out of debt and we're going to start saving money. And I'm like, all right, I'm just not going to spend as much. Okay, then what happens? I go to fucking Costco, I get my nails done, I take a friend for coffee, and I'm out 50K again every single year. And I'm like, I don't understand what I'm doing wrong. I'm trying so hard to save money. It's like, good for you, you're fucking trying, but let's see some data. And so I start tracking my budget. I start saying, you know what? This week I'm not getting my nails done because I ran out of money. So I'm not going to do that. And I do that 3-4 times a year and I've saved my money. And by the end of the year, I'm not 50K in debt anymore. And now I've broken even. Okay. So now I want to save money. It's the same thing with nutrition. You can say you hate it, but it is data at the end of the day. So if you're not tracking, then I would suggest track for 4 weeks so we can see, hey, are you actually in a plateau or are you overeating? The next part of tracking is, and of course, are you tracking accurately, which most people, myself included, do not do. I think I have transformed over 1,000 bodies to date. I think I had 1 or 2 clients that I can think of at the top of my head who were 100% accurate with tracking, and both of them were accountants. So if you're an accountant out there and you fucking love numbers, you're probably going to be really good at tracking. But myself included, I'm not good at like nobody is. We're at least 30 to 40% undercalculated in what we think we eat. We're not counting the bites, licks, and tastes. We're not counting the little handfuls here. We're not weighing properly. And I said this with my team yesterday is like, you know, are you weighing a banana or are you just saying, I ate a banana? And you might say to me, Elise, it's a fucking banana. Who cares? And I'm like, I get it. But how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you're guessing for your banana, you're probably guessing for the glass of wine, guessing for the cheesecake, just guessing for the bowl of pasta. You're guessing for so many things that you're likely just not counting all those calories, or you don't know because you're not eating at home. Maybe you're eating out a lot. And every time you eat out, you're adding another 400 to 700 calories into your diet in the day without even realizing. So I use this as an example. If I were to have, let's say for dinner or for lunch, a chicken salad, and I decide I'm going out for lunch with my friends today, but I'm going to be really good, and I'm going to have a chicken salad at the restaurant, 100%, at least get ready. You're eating 400 to 700 calories more, even though it's the same fucking thing. Okay. So this is where I say you've really got to get granular. And then the other last part I'll add in here is like, how do you know if you're in a plateau? You've got to be a little bit hungry. So if you're just a little bit hungry in your cut, in your deficit, as you're changing your physique and now you're not, then your metabolism has likely downregulated, which is going to happen. Let's say you are a 180-pound woman and you're trying to lose 10 pounds. And so you're losing weight and everything's going well. And the amount of energy, your BMR, the amount basal metabolic rate, the amount of energy your body needs to eat, sleep, breathe, poop, regulate your temperature, not actually move, just sustain your life. Let's say it used to be 1,600 calories. Now that you're a smaller version of yourself, it's now 1,400 calories or 1,300 calories. So you actually need less calories to move. And so you're like, I'm not hungry anymore. This isn't a deficit anymore. And then what do we tend to do? We tend to keep cutting calories until we're down to 1,000 calories and somehow not losing, but gaining weight. So this is metabolic adaptation at its finest happening. And what we need to do here, if you truly are in a plateau, two options. You can just stay right here and let that plateau kind of figure its way out naturally, which will happen, or you can start readapting your metabolism by putting in more calories. And I know you're going to yell at me and say, Elise, you're not fucking listening to me. I want to lose weight. I don't want to gain weight. And I'm like, I know, but you need more energy, more calories. So your metabolism starts firing again like a campfire. You add calories, you add logs to the fire burns brighter, and then you get heat. It's the same thing. Your body produces heat. It starts to move. It starts to release weight again. We're not meant to be always in a low calorie version of ourselves. Okay. All right. I threw a lot at you today. I understand it's definitely a lot. So if you have more questions, I would love to hear from you. Let me know how this resonates with you. You can drop me questions below. You can reach me on email, on Facebook, on Instagram. I'm going to go ahead and drop all the links below. I'd love to know how this relates to you. And hey, if you've been enjoying the podcast, it would really do mean a lot to me if you could do me a solid and just share this on your social, tag me. I will follow you back and I will cheer you on. And of course, if you want to see my hands flapping around and my lips moving over, go ahead and check this episode out on my YouTube channel. Until the next time.